Hello, people, and we'll start our Java 8 part 3, I guess, right? So I'll not waste much of a time. We'll go ahead and jump onto the questions. So basically, the first question, we are just taking it away from the last video. We have talked about internal and external iterator. What are they? Today, right now, we are talking about what is the difference. So see, you can take the iteration part itself as a like as a human body. So internal means whatever is going on inside, and external means you need to suppose there is a pain inside human body, right? So if suppose there is an outside thing, you need to apply something in the outside, like in the skin, and internal you need to take some pill, and then it what how this goes, it depends on the internal system, right? So I'm sorry if it's a wrong example, but just think it like this. That's how you'll be able to understand the core mechanism. So the internal iterator, it actually controls the iteration itself, like how this thing is going on. But the external iterator uh, collection controls iteration. So you need to have an external thing to control that. Okay. Just to like you have a list iterator, you will have the map.entry, right? All those things. Now, internal iterator can actually do it individually as well as in bulk, like for each it can use. But for external iterator, it will always do one by one sequentially. Sorry for this. Then internal iterator does not have to iterate elements sequentially only, as we talked about. But external iterator will always iterate the elements sequentially. Now the internal iterator supports a declarative way of programming. Like by seeing the code, you can know what you are doing. If you are filtering out, you are doing a map out of it, you are doing a sorting out of it, you can know. But external iterator will actually do the for int I is equal to 0, all those things, right? So they actually handles the oops programming imperative style. So the internal iterator code is more readable. As I told you, you can actually see and tell what's happening than external iterator. So the main advantage of internal iterator over external iterator will be basically it can do parallel and sequential. It can work as a declarative, okay, and code is more readable, and it supports concurrency and parallel processing, right? So this is the some of the main advantages. Now, what applications we should use? Like, what are the applications in which we should use actually internal iterator? So we have seen it, right? What it does, it does parallel processing. It has more declarative kind of syntaxes. It is supporting us concurrency and multi-threading. So wherever our application is requiring a high performance, a parallel processing, a fast iteration, and a bulk operation support, that time we'll use it. Okay. So also in an internal iteration application, we will not have much control over the iteration. So that other features like parallel processing becomes more important. Disadvantage is the same thing. It's all internal. We will not have any control over it. Okay. Now, can we provide implementation of a method in a Java interface? So prior to Java 8, we all know that it used to support only unimplemented methods. So now after Java 8 has been arrived, so our interface has two new things to do. And what are those two new things? One is the default thing, and second is a static thing. So basically, there is a default method which will have a default implementation, and there is a static method which we can create a static method in an interface and provide the implementation. Now, what is the default method in an interface? So basically, the default method will come with a default key, and it can tell that this is a default behavior. It will be there for any class implementing this interface. So now, why do we need default method in a Java interface? So see, all those comes into a like a circle when we talk about backward compatibility. Java is totally a fan of backward compatibility. That's why they take a long time to do anything. So all of your code which is present in Java 1.5 can be run in Java 11. This is the power of Java. So that's why what we do is, suppose you already have implemented a car interface that is implemented by three classes, BMW, Chevrolet, and Toyota. Now this car needs to add capability for flying. Okay, now it will require a change in the car interface. So suppose you need you implement a fly, sorry, you add an unimplemented fly method, all your respective classes will give a wrong implementation or unimplemented methods kind of an error. So how to avoid that? To avoid that, you will have a default implementation of flying methods and you will add it into car interface so that the car which doesn't require these flying methods, they can continue to implement the original car interface. Now, let's talk about, hello. Let's talk about why is the purpose of a static method in an interface in Java? So what is the purpose of it? See, static method is a interface, basically it's a helper method. So this is not an object level method. Some of this uses a static method in the interface. So what is this? This line is not properly used. Let me tell you. So in an interface, we can consider the static method as a utility or a helper method. It's not a method which you can call via object, right? You can call it via the static method. So basically you can call with a class values, right? So suppose a single class. So there is no need to create a separate util class for storing utility or helper methods. We can keep these methods in the same interface, right? Encapsulation. So with static methods, complete behavior of a class is encapsulated in the same class. So there is no need to maintain multiple classes. Then extension. We can easily extend a class or API. If we extend a collection array list, we got all the methods, right? We need not extend the collections class also. So that is what helpful of it, because array list already implements, right? So that's why. Now, what are the core ideas behind the datetime API of Java 8? There are three core ideas behind the datetime API. One is that now your classes are immutable. That means you can avoid the thread safety issues and the concurrency issues by ensuring that all the core classes are immutable and it will represent the well-defined values. Now, a domain-driven design. So basically now the new API is modeled on a precise domain with classes that represent different use cases for date and time. So you will have different classes, right? If you click on date and time, you can see it. The emphasis on domain-driven design offers benefits like clarity and understandability. Now, separation, okay, separation of chronologies. So the new API, which will allow people to work with different calendar systems. So it supports the needs of users which are in different areas of the world, like Japan or Thailand, which does not follow the ISO 8601 standard. So these are for the datetime APIs. Now let's talk about the another advantage. Is basically what are the advantages of new datetime API over the old API? So first of all, we already talked about it, that it is coming up with an immutable class. So it will help us in the thread safety and concurrency. So concurrency is a thing because the Java util.date and simple date formatters, they are not thread safe. So they will not work well with the current application. So in new datetime API, developer need not have to deal with the concurrency issues at all. It will have better design because, for example, we can say the years in java.util.8, it starts with 1900, month starts with 1, and days start with 0. So it's not very intuitive. And Java Datetime API, actually, it handles it very well. So then now you do not need a third-party libraries. With the popularity of third-party datetime libraries like Yoda Time, Java has to make its native datetime API comparable. And now we can use the Java API instead of using any third-party API, which will come up with our security issues like we have in Log4j, right? So yeah, that was it. And I'll start the next part in the next
video, right? Okay. Till then, have a nice day. If you like it, please do comment on the part what you want more. But yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day. I hope I'm able to give you guys a proper recording. Let's see.